I have an unprecedented 49ers instant reaction for you today. This is my 9th season covering the team, and that was the first time that I've ever seen 100% of the 49ers active roster, all 70 players, healthy and participating at practice. Yes, rookie wideout Jordan Watkins, who's been out for about a month with a high ankle sprain, was back at practice. Yetur Gross-Matos, who was participating in Monday's session but wasn't here yesterday, back out at practice. And it's particularly fitting that the 49ers have reached this full health amongst their active roster for the biggest practice, the last big practice ahead of the season opener. Thursdays, whenever there's a Sunday game, are the 49ers' most strenuous days here at the facility in Santa Clara. So those are the days where they truly test out what they want to run on Sunday. Typically, if a player is hurt, we look for their availability on Thursday, and if they are at practice on Thursday, that usually means they will play on Sunday. So the 49ers, I'll tell you what, the inactive list against the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday is going to be particularly tough to predict. Week 1 always throws you some curveballs because you're not exactly sure how the 49ers are going to play things from a strategic perspective, but usually some of your inactives and the 49ers out of the 53-man roster are going to have 7 of them. Usually some of them are predetermined by who hadn't practiced all week, who's been hurt. This time, we're going to have to start from scratch for all 7 of those inactives. So I want you guys, this is your homework right now. Homework assignment number 1. Comment. Who do you think the 7 inactives for the 49ers are going to be? How are they going to get this down to 46? And remember that the practice squad, the 17-man practice squad, is essentially an extension of the 53-man roster because I think that they're going to be calling up somebody like a Russell Gage, I'm sure of that, from the practice squad. A standard elevation, they have 3 of those. So they have to find a way to mix and match between the 53-man active roster and the 17-man active practice squad, which now includes Kilian Zierer, the German, the Auburn product, who is the 49ers international exception. But anyway, Yetur Gross-Matos was out there. He had a big brace on his right knee. He has now practiced a couple times since coming off of the physically unable to perform list. And I thought that Jordan Watkins was moving well for the 49ers. It looked like he had a little extra energy, actually, because he has been out for quite some time. So the receiving room all of a sudden looking a whole lot more robust, and now it's a question of who's active in the receiving room, because we had our initial 5 projected actives up until Jordan Watkins returned to practice. It had been Juwan Jennings, newly minted contract for Juwan Jennings, not an extension, but the $3 million sweetener. Ricky Pearsall, Russell Gage, elevated from the practice squad, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Sky Moore, the return specialist. Well, the 49ers have 6 receivers dressed in uniform, ready to go on Sunday, now that Jordan Watkins is back. Or are they going to ease Jordan Watkins back into this, and since he's missed about a month, well, they have him inactive for the first week. That probably is the 49ers' solution to this log jam, but it's a good problem to have. You don't mind having log jams, especially when you're facing a Seattle defense. I mean, you could watch the show from earlier this morning. We broke down Seattle's defense and said Jarran Reed, one of their veteran defensive linemen, has said he thinks this could be the top defense in football. Now, Jarran Reed, I mean, you want a player to be a homer, you want a player to go out and be as confident as possible, but I do think there's some substance behind the idea that Seattle can be a very good defense this year. They're number 6 in the NFL in expected points added following their bye week last year. So that was a full 8 weeks of football where the Seahawks were number 6 against the pass, number 6 against the run, and number 6 overall. They have a very good secondary. They've added a piece there, Nick Emanwuri. They improved their linebackers last year. Jarran Reed is part of the defensive line that also features Leonard Williams and now DeMarcus Lawrence. Those are a couple household names for the Seahawks. So this is a team that has some weapons defensively. They have a bit of a track record after last season. They're first under Mike Macdonald, and they say that they turned things around later in the year because they finally started trusting the scheme. It was the first go-round for their new head coach who came over from the Ravens. So the 49ers need all the weapons they can get. entering a game where they're going to be testing out this new look defense with a lot of young players for the first time. The offense, I've said many times, is going to have to be the locomotive that pulls the train for the 49ers. And, well, both sides of the football are healthy at this point. Now, I get it. It doesn't include the guys who are not on the active roster hurt before this season. So Brandon Ayuk, Curtis Rourke, the rookie quarterback. Kevin Givens was hurt during training camp, so he's probably the one player who's on a long-term injury list right now who was hurt during this training camp. Malik Mustafa obviously hurt during the final game of last season. So the 49ers still stand to get those guys back. But either way, they are in a position where 20 out of 22 starters project to be available against the Seahawks. And again, I had never seen anything like this. All 70 on the active roster for the 49ers practicing today. Enjoy it while it lasts, because it definitely is an unusual update. I remember they were notably healthy before the Super Bowl, but we didn't get to watch practice before the Super Bowl. They send one pool reporter out to practice for each team, and that's it. So I had never been on a practice field where I got to see all of those active roster participants out on the field practicing. Pretty cool stuff for the 49ers. Other piece of homework that you have to go to the San Francisco Standard. This is the deep dive on the 49ers defense and what it's going to look like under Robert Saleh 2.0. I spent all off-season, all training camp, all preseason reporting this. Nuggets from the 49ers locker room, such as the ones that I got from Chase Lucas, who told me about the 135 pieces of teach tape, little practice clips that Robert Saleh and Daniel Bullocks gave the defensive backs ahead of a preseason game that led to one of Chase Lucas's interceptions. There's a lot of effort that has gone into rebuilding this 49ers defense, and I think that this is the single biggest question facing the 49ers this year. Over 40% of their defensive snaps from 2024 need to be replaced. They obviously very intentionally tried to get younger over the course of this offseason. After jettisoning some higher-priced veterans, the 49ers spent their first 5 draft picks on defensive players. It's the first time the team had done that since 1981, when they actually went on to win their first Super Bowl. That, of course, was a draft featuring Ronnie Lott. Well, now it's Michael Williams, Alfred Collins, C.J. West, Marquise Siegel, Upton Stout, amongst others. I mean, the 49ers really, really loaded up on this defensive side of the ball. And they brought back their coordinator who built this thing up the first time. And a lot of people are asking me, what is this 49ers defense going to look like? Are they going to be blitzing more? Is there going to be a higher level of aggressiveness? Well, I answer all of those questions in this piece. Again, I spent a lot of time on it. Maybe not as much time as Robert Saleh and Gus Bradley have spent building up the 49ers defense, but I spent a lot of time talking to guys in the locker room, observing every single practice the 49ers have had so far this season, and coming up with the definitive piece ahead of the season opener on Robert Saleh 2.0, bringing his old boss, Gus Bradley, with him. I think that's another cool side story that we'll have to delve further into the future. So the San Francisco Standard is where this is at. You got a gold mine of 49ers defensive information. Link is pinned up on the comment section. Link is in the description. You could really, really support the best, deepest 49ers coverage out there by checking that out, signing up for the Standard, obviously checking this channel out, which you're already doing, but adding a subscription, hitting the notification bell. But I do believe that the best 49ers coverage that you'll get, the most in-depth experience that you'll get, is if you watch the videos and you read. Because not only did we talk Chase Lucas, we also talked Marquise Siegel, the 49ers player profile that they obviously looked for over the course of this entire offseason program, not only in the draft, but through veterans. Somebody like Jason Pinnock and then somebody like Marquise Siegel, those are the two guys that are going to start at safety for the 49ers. Those two players have insane speed metrics. In fact, if it's Pinnock and Siegel starting at safety, that will be the fastest safety duo in 49ers history. The game, it's such a speed game now. You don't generally have what you used to have, the free safety and the strong safety. One would be a speed guy, the other would be a bigger thumper. Now you just got speed guys. Pinnock and Siegel big-time speed guys. Siegel, I would say, is a little undersized for his position, just like Upton Stout, just like Nick Martin, the rookie linebacker out of Oklahoma State. But despite being undersized, those guys are all exceptionally strong. Stout benched 21 reps, the most of any defensive back. Nick Martin, 26 reps at the top of the linebacker room. So they may be undersized, but they're strong, and all these guys extremely explosive and fast. The 49ers have, I think, deprioritized defensive length in the back seven versus where it used to be when they were chasing players like Richard Sherman before Saleh's defense evolved when he went to the Jets and then back to the 49ers. So they put a bigger emphasis on some of this speed, some of this explosiveness, some of this strength. They're definitely maintaining muscle in the physical profile of these players, but they are focusing more heavily on combining it with speed. All gas, no brakes. I mean, Marquis Siegel's wearing a wristband in the locker room with AGNB. That is Saleh's mantra. Is giving that out in both of his tenures here now with the 49ers. It used to be the most popular fashion accessory in the 49ers locker room, while the rookies are wearing all gas, no brakes wristbands again in there. And I led the story with that, so you should definitely go check it out. See the vision that Robert Saleh has schematically. How much are the 49ers going to blitz? What is this defense, which is going to be a work in progress? There will be growing pains. What is this defense going to look like on Sunday in Seattle, and how can we expect it to evolve over the course of 2025? That's the smart question to ask about this 49ers team. We have to track this over the long run, and the 49ers have to be insulated for the long run. It is a marathon coming up and not a sprint. And I think that the opening part of that marathon, the 49ers can get that opening push, most of it from their offense as this defense settles in and fittingly tries to figure things out early on against a former 49er, Sam Darnold, former 49ers assistant coach, Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator of the Seahawks. A lot of intertwined stuff happening here. We're going to have our prediction and all that good material to close the week. But the 49ers, fully healthy, 70 out of 70 active roster players at practice. Yes, this has been an unprecedented 49ers instant reaction, but wait, there's going to be more.